Sleazy Michael here. You may know me from some unboxing videos. And I just wanted to let you know that Normal Michael wanted me to tell you that he doesn't think that there's anything wrong with being mentally ill or anything like that. Sort of a disclaimer. He says loony bin and other very offensive terms throughout this video, and anyway, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. Enjoy this review of my favorite Friday the 13th film.
Why won't you die?
Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. His name was Jason.
All right, we're moving on to part 5, and Tommy Jarvis is back, so I wonder, what does 17-year-old Corey Feldman look like? Oh. So yeah, this takes place in 1989. It's the beginning of this whole franchise, just taking a real interesting turn continuity-wise, and honestly, just don't think about it. Just be like me, and don't fucking think about it. As much as I complain about Part 3's cartoonish qualities, oh boy, here comes Ethel and her dipshit offspring to decry mental rehabilitation and take down Part 5 several notches in the same grating breath.
I want this loony bin closed down. Do you hear me, fella? Now, these kids ain't nothing but trouble. They don't respect others' property, and they're all crazy.
You tell 'em off!
There's also this piece of shit, but luckily he's axed from the cast pretty early on. So yeah, Part 5. Part 5 is like the black sheep of the franchise. This is the movie that even like actual fans, but mostly people who are just generally familiar with the franchise, like to decry as the worst one because when Jason's not in it, it's not really him behind the hockey mask. Who the fuck is this Roy guy? There's the dislikes right there.
Bunch of pussies.
Yeah. I like Roy. Do I think that Roy works 100%? No. But do I like him? Yes, and I'll explain why. See, Part 5 for me is most interesting thanks to the knowledge that it isn't Jason. Well, that and the tone, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm not there yet. It's just so many questions have to be asked to understand the Roy plot, and that actually adds to some of the kills in a weird way. For example, these two greaser-looking dudes, apparently on their way to audition for Sometimes They Come Back, are handily dispatched by our killer seemingly at random, until you realize that what we're seeing is Roy testing his mettle. Afterward, he moves to another pair, this time outside a diner, again testing his abilities to creatively tear up some bodies.
That's just what the doctor ordered.
I love mustachioed cokehead sex maniac man.
Come on, will ya? Lana!
What? When he kills Tina, Eddie, and this quote, fucking ugly man,
He's one fucking ugly man.
we can only assume that this is the next logical step in his evolution. He's tasted blood, discovered that he's pretty good at killing, and he even seems pretty chipper while removing these first two bodies.
Huh? Oh, I thought you was talking to me.
No, Roy, it's okay. Go ahead.
Get them out of here.
Tina and Eddie are part of the loony bin for whatever reason, while the drifter dude is collateral damage for being there in the wrong place at the wrong time. And you could actually go a step further with Roy's unseen story. What kind of man is he? Sure, he's a paramedic, but he's a paramedic in a town with some hang-ups about this nut house in the middle of the woods, a nut house where he, for some reason, felt the need or was perhaps forced to send his lard-ass son. It's always been a bit of a quibble that he doesn't actually kill the guy responsible for his son's death, but you know, my theory with Roy is that he simply had this killer instinct in him all along, and the death of his son is just what triggered it. That's admittedly not a great story, but it makes enough sense that I'm willing to make the assumptions necessary to force this dumb at face value twist to work. And add to this, and this is kind of supported, the sheriff is convinced early on while speaking with Mayor Poor Man's John Saxon that Jason Voorhees is responsible for the killings. Considering Roy's proximity to the cops, it's easy to imagine Roy realizing how he can get away with this, and so after the first few murders, he nabs a hockey mask at Walmart or whatever, he dusts off an old Halloween costume, or perhaps even an actual Jason mask that was made to capitalize on the murders. After all, this is a bit of a legend now. And he gets to work on the rest of the ingrates he comes across. Now, why does he kill Ethelyn Jr.? Easy. You've seen him.
Would you shut your trap? You know, you ain't so pretty yourself, you know.
Now you might be asking, Michael, how does he burst through the door like that? Fuck you. As for Tommy, once you get past the idea that this is supposed to be 17-year-old Corey Feldman in the year of our Lord 1989, John Shepherd actually puts in a solid, this might be going a little far, but let's call it a multi-layered performance. Unfortunately, he's not really the focus of the story, even if the goal was to turn him into the killer by the end. In fact, I'm not sure who the focus is supposed to be. Pam, I guess? Reggie the Reckless? I don't know, it's very muddled. Now, it's pretty obvious that the filmmakers wanted Tommy to be the red herring, but I can't imagine anyone was ever convinced of that.
Fuck him.
Fuck you.
They drop his mask-making abilities and visions as clues to kind of throw us off the trail, but come on, it was never going to be this guy. At least not in this film. I know that a lot of people watching this for the first time back in the day thought it was really Jason. I don't think I've ever heard anyone actually fall for the Tommy Jarvis is the killer thing. Like, it just doesn't hold water, especially with how they're presenting it. Now, personally, I think it's pretty obvious that it's Roy. I mean, just look at this.
Come on, Roy. Get your hands dirty.
If you don't think he's the killer, then you at least must think the film is really trying hard to push him as the red herring, because that is some less than subtle filmmaking. Where Final Chapter juggles multiple plot threads pretty damn well, the single biggest issue with New Beginning is that it feels extremely unfocused.
You gonna get it, bitch!
A big part of the problem is that we never understand how the Pinehurst Youth Rehabilitation Center is supposed to work. It just seems like everyone hangs out and that's about it. Then they done get killed and, you know, whatever. I'm not even sure what's wrong with most of them. This dude has a stutter, Roy's boy ate too much, I guess, and I suppose these two just like to fuck. Befuddling. Secondary to this issue are the kills. It's actually kind of shocking just how much Reagan-era censorship fucked this movie. Basically every kill is neutered into oblivion, with a few even happening off screen. We still get plenty of violent deaths, including some gnarly eye trauma, but it all just feels too chopped up to be really compelling. And hey, this can work. Friday the 13th has never been about the obscene gore. It's not about torture, it's not about minutes and minutes of blood pouring out of people, but rather the careful implementation of quick, well-edited deaths following usually some stalking sequences. While a lot of these deaths are quick, the editing it leaves something to be desired. If you go back to part 4, it's edited in such a way that you could tell me that there were no cuts made to that movie, and I would be inclined to believe you. It feels like it naturally flows. This just doesn't. This feels very, unfinished. But that unfinished quality kind of adds to what makes this film unique. And what it is that makes it so unique, beyond the fact that it's not really Jason doing the kills, and beyond the fact that this is probably the last Friday movie to really overtly go for scares before going into Looney Tunes land, is that it's sleazy as all fuck. It's just a gross feeling, looking, sometimes even sounding film. Hell, poor Demon dies in a shit shack in the middle of a trailer park. Oh, and the rest of the kills. Roy may be new to the game, but he kills 19 people. That's more than in any other film in the franchise up to this point, and that doesn't count the 2 grave robbers murdered in that opening dream sequence. This thing has a bloodlust. Only Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X would go on to match or exceed this number. This very exploitation flick aesthetic is really down to director Danny Steinman, whose previous work included the underage Linnea Quigley gets raped so Linda Blair kills a bunch of punks revenge flick, Savage Streets, and the porno. So, yeah, this one feels more dirty than the others. Now that's by no means a flaw. In fact, I'd say it's one of the film's defining positive features. Steinman was not a great director, especially compared to those who had previously helmed entries, but thanks to his exploitation of the mentally ill, rednecks, any pair of tits he could find, and just plain mean-spiritedness, he added a unique tone that gave us something odd and special in the lead-up to that inevitable return of Crystal Lake's favorite son. In the end, I think A New Beginning is underrated, but only because it's a pretty middle-of-the-road entry rather than the disaster that some people make it out to be. And for all the wrong reasons at that. Roy's fine as the killer. Given better screenwriting and less censorship, he might have even gone down as one of the greats. Tommy Jarvis is sadly underused, but by the time it's revealed he's gone off the deep end, it's too late and feels too contrived after what we've seen. However, it's a nice return to a grungier, more sleazy aesthetic that the series would once again abandon with its next entry. Friday the 13th, A New Beginning is a perfectly good slasher flick, unfortunately stuck between 2 of the best. So, let's take it on out of the box. I'm gonna drop this one day. I'm gonna be very sad about that. Doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doopa-doo. No, that's the better one. There you are. Okay. If Jason still haunts you, you're not alone. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah, so open this sucker up. Of course, we get that disc. Get some alternate back artwork. And, ooh, look at that. Another fucking teaser poster. This one befuddles me because there is a much better poster out there ready and available that they did not use, and I don't quite understand that. Yeah, I don't really understand it because I would have switched that if I had the option, but as it is, it's just staying the way that it is. As far as extras, so this again, I mentioned this last time, but this is the first time in this box set that we are not getting anything new transfer-wise. The film looks fine. I don't think it's a bad transfer. I don't think it's particularly great. I think it's fine. It looks clean. Grain structure's intact. Yeah, there's nothing, there's no serious sharpening or anything. It's, the previous transfer, or I mean, this transfer, but in the previous release, was fine in and of itself, but it was also sharing a disc, I think, with Jason Lives. So the one thing this really has going for it is it has its own disc, therefore, technically there's more data to work with. That's really the long and short of it. You could probably pixel peep this thing and, find some differences, but it is, in the end, a perfectly fine transfer. The sound is also great. Of course, you get the mono and the 5.1, you know, so audio-wise, you're golden. Video-wise, I don't know what you would really improve upon on this release, to be honest. It's going to look the way it does. I guess you could get more detail out of a 4K transfer. That's something, but I don't think it's necessary, especially for something as gritty as this film. So you get 3 commentaries. One of them is good. There's 2 new commentaries, 1 archive. So the new commentary is with Melanie Kinnaman, Deborah Voorhees, Tiffany Helm, and Peter M. Bracke. It's okay. It's not bad. Like when I say that there's one good one, this one is not bad. There's a lot of like going on and on about how great and underrated this film is, and you know, Bracke helps to get the production details out. He moderates things nicely, so I don't think it's bad. It's just kind of it's a cast commentary. Now I'm going to skip ahead real quick. The archive commentary is a bad commentary. It's not very good. It's Danny Steinman, actors Joe Shepard and Shavar Ross, who played Tommy Jarvis and Reggie the Reckless, respectively. And then also Michael Felsher, who he's also on the bonus documentary thing. And he is basically the world's #1 Part 5 fan. And I respect his hustle, but his arguments for why it's better are kind of lame. He feels kind of just contrarian. But you know what? You like what you like. I'm glad he enjoys the movie, and I'm glad he got to be on the commentary. Good for him. That's a dream come true for an obsessed fan of any movie. So it's a bit too jokey for me. The late Danny Steinman sounds like a skeezy discount Lloyd Kaufman in the worst possible way. It's not terrible, but there's just not much information provided. And when it is, sometimes you're uncertain if they're even being serious about it. It's a weird, kind of uncomfortable commentary. But the other new fan commentary from Adam Green and Joe Lynch, Natch, is oddly enough the most entertaining and informative. Sure, they weren't there, but they know the films front to back and provide a filmmaker's perspective. And while they do really love the movie, they also have plenty of gripes to contend with, and I found that very refreshing, especially considering the other 2 commentaries. Beyond that, we get Lost Tales from Camp Blood Part 5, which is 7 minutes long. This one features attempted rape, so that's cool. Also, still no Jason. So while this is probably the best of the bunch, if only thanks to production quality, why am I watching these? Let's see, at 10 minutes, we get the Crystal Lake Massacres Revisited Part 2. This one's more digestible, but it's still a little too silly for me. But you know, if you like them, you like them. And then New Beginnings, The Making of Friday the 13th Part 5 is 11 minutes. It makes a reasonable, although not terribly compelling case for the film. Michael Felsher has questionable taste, but he does allow for possibly the best moment in any of these old special features. I really liked his little moment with Tom Savini. That was really great. Let's see, then we get a Fango article, trailer, TV spots, stills galleries, you know, whatever. It's a perfectly fine release. Like, it's basically nothing new. I do, interesting thing, on the back it mentions the new audio commentary with the actors, does not mention the fan commentary. Anyway, so that is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. I could have gone, I guess, maybe a little bit deeper into this one, but I don't really feel like saying much about it. It is Friday the 13th, Part 5, and it's kind of weird and really sleazy, but it's definitely better than the haters give it credit for, but maybe not as good as the lovers do. Anyway, yeah, I don't have anything else. It's sleazy. God, this is really tiring. Doing this every day. Anyway, go to the social medias or whatever, hit that like button, snap the neck of that bell icon thing, subscribe if I didn't already tell you to do that, and check out the Patreon, and go watch a movie.